I thought I'd do a different video. I'm sitting in our dining room. And when I'm sitting in here making videos, I'm surrounded by books. And I have these bookshelves that are in our dining room. You can see these bookshelves. See the bookshelves? And there's books over here. See, there's books here. And books down here. Now, as those who've been watching my videos, BookTube, know that, we had last year our kitchen remodeled, and my wife, we had all this stuff from the kitchen here in the dining room. It was just a mess for a couple of months. And then my wife got the dining room back in order once the kitchen was remodeled and it was all done. And we took a lot of books downstairs that were stacked up here. But the point of this video is to show you what books that we have in the dining room. And what is mainly in the dining room is our the West collection, the American West collection, Nature collection. My wife and I we love the West. My wife loves Arizona, New Mexico, the Southwest. That's why you can see the Southwest. That's from the painting from New Mexico, and there's a Hopi Indian thing there, and so yeah, there's a Southwest kind of, I don't know what the word is, a Southwest kind of motif. But I wanted to show you the books that we have in the dining room, and and these are from our American West collection. We have, for example, the Wagons West, Epic Story of America's Overland Trails by Frank McLean, and then we have Indians of the Americas, National Geographic Society. This is really an old book that I found at a used book sale. I'm always looking for books on the American West, Native Americans, books like that. This is really old. I think I got this a couple of years ago at a used book sale. It's the old one. Then we have A History of the Indians of the United States by Angie, Debo. And then this book here, The Heart of Everything That Is, The Untold Story of Red Cloud and American Legend by Bob Drury and Tom Clavin. And then we have The Day the World Ended at Little Bighorn, a Lakota History by Joseph M. Marshall III. The Truth Behind the Legend from the Voices of the Lakota Indians. And then here is New Mexico Women, Intercultural Perspectives, edited by Joan and Jensen and Darlis A. Miller. And Crazy Horse and Custer, The Parallel Lives of Two American Warriors by Stephen E. Ambrose. Touched Fire, The Life and Death and Mythic Afterlife of George Armstrong Custer by Louis Burnett. And then we have this novel, Ceremony by Leslie Marmoon Silko. She's one of my favorite writers. I have more of her novels downstairs in the lower level library. And then The Conquering of the Missouri, Frontier Classic Series by Joseph Mill Hanson. And then Indians of North America by Jeffrey Turner. See, these are nice illustrations in here of Native Americans. Then you have Myth and Ecological Indian, Myth and History by Shepard, Krech III. Three Roads to Alamo, The Lives and Fortunes of David Crockett, James Bowie, and William Burnett Travis by William C. Davies. This is part of our nature too. In Alaska and the American West, Wanderings of an Environmental Journalist by Philip R. Franklin. And then In a Barren Land, American Indian Dispossession and Survival by Paul Michel Marx. So I got books like that down here. Of course, we have the Reformation Study Bible. And so yeah, we collect books on the American West. These are this box that I haven't put downstairs yet. And then we have on the bottom shelf, The Men Who Wear the Star, The Story of the Texas Rangers by Charles M. Robinson III. And then we have Wilderness at Dawn, The Setting of the North American Continent by Ted Morgan. A Shovel of Stars, The Making of the American West, 1800 to the Present by Ted Morgan. And then we have The Frontiersman, a narrative by Alan W. Eckert. And then The First American, The Story of North American Archaeology. Sorrow Our Heart, The Life of Tecumseh by Alan E. Eckert, the author of The Frontiersman. And then we have The Spirit of Crazy Horse by Peter Matheson. And then by Colin Fletcher, The Man Who Walked Through Time. This is through the Grand Canyon. And then we have The Last Wilderness. This is was published in 1955. This tells the lively, entertaining story of the Olympic Peninsula in Washington. And then we have Legends of the American Desert, Sojourns in the Greater Southwest by Alex Shumoff. And then Neither Wolf Nor Dog, The Forgotten Roads with an Indian Elder. I read this about 2 years ago. I really enjoyed this by Ken Neburn. I really enjoyed reading this. I remember reading this one. And then we have Trail of Tears, Rise and Fall of the Cherokee Nation by John Iredell. And then Nation Moving West, Readings in the History of the American Frontier, edited by Robert W. Raymond and Robert W. Murdoch. And then Exploration and Empire, The Explorer and Scientist and the Winning of the American West by William J. Kozman. Across the Great Divide, Robert Stewart and Discovery of the Oregon Trail by Leighton McCartney. Son of the Morning Star, Custer and the Little Bighorn by Evan S. Connell. Then we have Buffalo Bill in America, William Cody and the Wild West Show by Lewis S. Warden. And then we have another book on Buffalo Bill, Cody and the Man Behind the Legend by Robert A. Carter. The Myth of the West, America as the Last Empire by Jane Williams Charlotte Hort. And then we have The Old Iron Road, an epic of rails, roads, and urge to go west by David Howard Brand. And then last on the bottom shelf, American Express, building the first transcontinental railroad. So this is the kind of books that we have in the dining room. I'm not going to show all of them because it would take forever. But I just wanted to show that some of our American West collection tonight. And this is just one shelf, well, a shelf and a box. I took 3 or 4 boxes of books down in the lower level on the American West, on Native Americans, and I think some biographies. I also used to collect books on the Incas there in Central America, and I have a lot of books on American history. I look at myself as an American, so therefore I try to, as an American, know the history of America. So I have histories covering all periods of American history, starting with the colonies and the American Revolution and the especially American Christianity, the history of Christianity in America, going back to like time of the colonial period, time of revival, the what we call the First Great Awakening under Jonathan Edwards, and then you go into the 19th century with Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, and you go into the times of the American Transcendentalist movement with Emerson and Thoreau and Nathaniel Hawthorne and Emily Dickinson, and then you have the Civil War. We have a big Civil War collection. Books. We have books on Abraham Lincoln, Robert E. Lee, the generals on the Civil War, the Union Army and the Southern Army. And then we go into the time after the Civil War, the Reconstruction period, the Gilded Age. And then I collect books on Theodore Roosevelt, and I collect books on the writers, like, we have Faulkner, and we have writers like Scott Fitzgerald, and we have writers like Edith Horton, and this goes on. And then I collect books on Franklin D. Roosevelt and the Great Depression, and then you have the time after the Second World War. You have the 50s, and then we have the literary movement of the Beatniks and the modern art movement in New York City, and the abstract painters, de Kooning, Jack Pollock. And then you go into the 60s and the counterculture and hippies and LSD and marijuana and Vietnam and Richard Nixon and Watergate, and then you go into the 70s and the 80s and 90s and 2000s. And so I try to collect books in all these areas of American history because I am an American and I like reading about America, its history, its people, its wars, its like I didn't mention the Civil Rights Movement. I collect books on the Civil Rights Movement. I collect books on all aspects of American life. And that's what, here in the dining room, we have books on the American West, like A Wilderness and So Immense, the Louisiana Purchase and the Destiny of America. It just goes on and on. So I just want to bring that out, and I'll show more of these books in the dining room in the future, but this has gotten long enough. I just wanted to show that when I in our library, it's an American library. I suppose that's what I'm mostly fascinated with. America. It's literature, it's art, it's music, it's people, it's conflicts, it's diversity, it's all the different races, the politics, the pop culture, Disneyland, Superman, and all these things. So I just was on my mind tonight, and I just thought I'd share these thoughts because I'm sitting in the dining room and I see all these books on the American West, and I think about America and what we're going to go through now. We have a new president, and I just hope that America does, like you have it's called the American destiny, America being a light on a hill, being an example to the nations of what it means to be great. And it's not in power, it's not in wealth, it's in things like loving your neighbor, being concerned for the poor, everybody having a decent education, a good job, and seeking after peace with people, and seeking to be good neighbors, and to look out for one another, and be concerned for the environment, and take care of nature. That's why we have in this dining room a whole shelves of nature books about the environment. And part of being in America is our national parks, being concerned for the earth, for nature, and people living in harmony with nature, ecology, things like that. And so it's like Thoreau and the Maine woods and things like that. So anyway, I just want to share these thoughts. And today is a Wednesday. I had books come in the mail today, but I just wanted to share some thoughts here in BookTube. And until next time, bye.